Do you know how powerful you are?
Welcome to the RisePreneurs podcast.
Welcome to RisePreneurs.
Reshaping and elevating your mindset to help you achieve what you believe.
Sometimes we don't even see our own greatness. You can't be what you can't see.
And connecting Black cultures to build a community of talent and success.
Black people need to realize that they are assets. You are an asset.
When we rise, you rise.
Come together as a group.
This is RisePreneurs with Terrell Simmons.
In this episode of RisePreneurs, I get to introduce you, ladies and gentlemen, to the one and only Annifred Granville. She's actually on our RisePreneur team. And I actually met her through Shola, another one of Shola's many individuals that she knows and introduced me to. And she actually joined our team to help out with a lot of the foundation of creating, some of the products and services that we'll be coming out with in the future, and helping out with operations, of course. She owns her own jewelry business. And what can I say? She's a young entrepreneur who really never undermines the effect of networking on your way up to the top of the entrepreneurship ladder. And she's been able to do that through her lifetime. She really hopes to inspire, motivate young and skillful Black entrepreneurs and helping them really fuel their passion as a global solutions provider. And she's definitely been able to help me do that in my business. And she's been able to help Shola do that within her business and the many different ventures they have collaborated on. So I was excited and enthusiastic to have her a part of the team and help out in so many different ways as she helps the RisePreneurs band really create an avenue for not only for me, but everybody who's involved as we start to connect with Blacks and Africans around the diaspora. So without further ado, I want to introduce you to this young lady and have you really tune into her business journey, and hopefully her story gets to inspire some young woman out there who's looking at taking that leap of faith as well. So without further ado, Annifred. Good morning, and good afternoon. I guess good afternoon to you. If you're out there over in Africa, Nigeria, or in the other parts of the world, welcome to another episode of RisePreneurs. I am your host, Terrell Simmons, and we got a special guest in the building, Annifred. And for all of you guys that don't know, that she's my boss. She's in charge of products, services. Sometimes she helps out with marketing too. So I'm just glad to have her part of my tribe and part of the team. And I wanted to get her on just to kind of talk about her journey. I was introduced to you by Shola, and I remember when I first started this journey before, when Shola came on as a business partner, she's like, and I was like, Shola, I have no more capacity. I need help. She's like, I got the perfect person for you. And that's how I met you. But I never got to hear the story. How did you meet Shola? Like, how did you and Shola meet?
I've known Shola for about a decade now, and it was interesting. I got to know her through somebody too. I was referred to her like, okay, Shola's like, I need somebody who's going to listen to my thoughts and get them down. And here I am. And I was brought to her, and she's like, but you look so, I'm like, don't worry, I'm going to learn on the job. And it's been an amazing decade with her. Fun, very educative. She has now grown to become boss, mentor, sister, all of that. Yeah.
It's hard not to do that when you meet Shola, because she's just full of life and energy. And boss is definitely a word that comes to mind. I was doing another interview with another guest that's known Shola too. There's like, yeah, she's a boss, man. And she likes to talk. When you give the word, then
yeah, she does. She sure does. She does. She likes to talk, and her thoughts are just amazing. Like Shola thinks, I don't know if I can count, if I can say she thinks like 1,000 words in a second.
Yeah,
I guess that's what it is with Shola. In fact, it's not guess. I'm sure that's what it is with Shola.
There. Now, I like your story because your story is amazing. What you do with youth. You got two 2 kids yourself, you got your own business with the accessories. There's probably more to you that I don't know, but from that, I do know those things. Now, before we jump into like a little bit more about that story, I'm curious, and I like to ask this question because what I find is when I go out and do presentations to youth or other young people, or even just adults, I'm always amazed of their journey, like what the first job they had and to where they are now. And I like to tell this story. I like to ask this question: what is your first job? And the reason why I asked it too is because there's a lot of things that you learn from your first job that helps you kind of grow, or lessons that you can learn that helps you grow in your career. And also to show the young people, it's not where you start, it's where you finish, right?
Yeah.
And everybody has a starting point in life, but those starting points could be good lessons to great beginnings of bigger and better things.
True that.
So what was your first job?
Interestingly, my first job was my job with Shola.
Really?
Yes,
Are you serious?
yes, it was.
Doing what?
Exactly. My first job was actually my job with Shola. I'm sure she was even wondering, like, this person is so young. Is she going to be able to keep up? My first job
Uh-huh.
was with her, and I'm glad it was because Shola is many things. She's gifted, she's business driven, she's very, very ambitious. And just like you said, your first job will probably tell how far you go. I can't say I am where I want to be, but I'm grateful for the person that is Shola that kind of nurtured me to where I am today and where I'm still headed. I'm grateful for the gifts that is Shola. I'm grateful it was my first job experience was with her because it wasn't cutting corners for me at all. It was the real deal. And with Shola, it's either you were there or you were not.
Yeah. Now, was this job that you did with her first business? And what did she have you doing, just
Anymore,
out of
I was
curiosity?
her personal assistant. Yes, I
Okay.
was her personal assistant.
And she's fast paced too. So to be an executive assistant is quite challenging. People don't know how tough and hard and how very detail orientated and everything you have to be an assistant to an executive assistant. It's a high demand job sometimes.
Especially with someone like Shola. For a thinker
Yeah.
like Shola, somebody who thinks like always births ideas like Shola. It's an interesting, and I think it's one of the best things I have done. One of not I'm not
Uh,
saying it's the best, but it's one of the best things,
yeah.
remarkable things, journey that I've been on in my life. Yeah.
Gotcha. Now, just out of curiosity, when did like you start your, I would say, your side hustle slash entrepreneurship journey? Like, because I know you got an accessories. When did that start? And how did that start? What was the idea? I like to play on the name too. How did you come up with that name? Sorry, I'm asking you a zillion questions, but I think you can handle all of
That's
them.
fine.
You can work with
That's
all of
fine. So I used to have a very, very, very good friend at a time who helped me out with the name Ancestries, Annifred
them.
Ancestries. And Ancestries was birthed from a place of I really liked jewelry. I
Right.
figured that there's almost if 5 women walk past you, you hardly find anyone without a piece of earring, finger ring, or something. There was just this thing about women and jewelry, and I enjoyed picking them out for people. I would have my friends at the time say, "Oh, I'm attending a function. I'd like to have, what do you think I should pair with my dress?" I'd have somebody say, "Oh, someone's getting married. She wants me to help her pick out her jewelry. Can you help?" It was fun
Mhm.
doing that, and I figured, why can't I just turn this into something other than just loving it. I could earn from this as well and
Mhm.
have fun still earning. And that was how Ancestries was birthed. I started to
Mhm.
find out where I could source jewelry from, what kind of jewelry tones. I started to read all I could about jewelry, and well, that's how we got to where we are.
Yeah, awesome, awesome. I love that story. So tell me now, like, say if a little girl's listening to this right now and she's like, you know what, I love jewelry too. And I always wanted to get into that world, but I don't know how. What were the steps you took to get into, the jewelry or accessories business that you can kind of give us or give that young little girl who's probably looking at your career pathway?
Okay, so it's not, I will never undermine the power or the influence of networking, knowing people, talking to people, people that matter, because you won't
Mm,
just talk to any, you could talk to just anybody and then nothing will still happen. But talking to people that matter, that can drive you in the right direction. And of course, you
mm-hmm,
don't just stand up and become an island. I already had done my job, my first job with Shola. I had moved on to a couple other jobs as well. So I had a little bit of experience, not in that particular field I wanted, but I already knew what it would be like managing or building something from the scratch and making it your own. And then I
mm,
started to find out knowledge is important. I had to
yeah.
gain knowledge about what I wanted to do. It wasn't enough for me to just like picking out jewelry. I had to know about jewelry. I had to know a little bit about fashion. I had to follow trends. So knowledge was, or knowledge is, not was, because it still is. It's an ongoing process.
Mhm,
You never get enough knowledge. Knowledge is as important as whatever it is that you, so if you wanted to follow a passion or anything, you definitely have to know about it. And you never stop learning about something, because except you just want to do it on a very platonic level. If you want to keep expanding or growing something, you have to keep knowing about it. So I had to gain more knowledge. I also had to talk
mhm,
to people. I had to ask people, where do I get, you have bought this thing before. Where did you buy it from? Where did you,
mhm,
and social media wasn't exactly where it is now then
mhm.
when I
Yeah.
started the business. So it was basically Facebook, I guess. So I just started, I'll tell a friend, oh, hi, I have this. Do you know somebody who needs colleagues? I would literally
Mhm,
talk to people. So you can never undermine the influence of people in any journey, especially if you want to do business. You never undermine the influence of networking. You have to build the right relationship with people as
mhm.
regards what it is that you do. And then you have to be the brand. I had to wear and look the part. I know this, might sound overflocked, but you sell jewelry, but you barely wear a pair of earrings. How do you want them to trust what it is that you say you're doing? So I wasn't very big on fashion, but for the sake of the business, I had to start, meaning to do
Right.
it. Yeah.
Right. I can see you even accessorized today. You got the earrings, got the necklace on. So you got a bracelet over there. So you have become the brand, a walking, talking. You're probably like a walking, talking billboard right now. Oh, girl, you want this? Oh, I got another one for you. Let me show you.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. The truth is, I have sometimes sold jewelry off me, like, oh, this is really nice. Where did you get it? Oh, I sell it. Can I get this one? Oh, yes, I'll probably get another. So
Yeah.
I've had it before. I've done that
Right.
before.
And I love that you said networking, because networking is something that I always tell folks, like, hey, look, your network is your net worth.
Mm,
You gotta get out there and network. It's not just about what you know all the time. Sometimes you need to connect with the right people that can get you into different places and spaces
mm,
and allow you to really connect. So yeah, I love that. I love that.
yeah.
So what was one good lesson you feel that life has taught you during this time, during this journey of yours? What is one good lesson life has taught you?
So will I say in or on my entrepreneurship journey, one thing I had to learn was how to be, because I'm still learning it, is how to be deliberate.
Mm-hmm.
Most times we're passionate about the things that we want to do as entrepreneurs, but
Mm-hmm.
we let the passion get the best of us, and so we're not deliberate. We just go ahead, we go with the flow. But I think
Mm-hmm.
passion is not enough for entrepreneurs anymore in this day and in this time. You now have to be deliberate. One last thing I learned was that if you want this thing to work, you have to be deliberate. You have to be intentional about your business. You have to be intentional about the decisions that you're taking concerning the business. You have to watch, grow, learn. And for you to watch, you have to be looking out for certain things in particular. As regards your business,
Yeah.
you should be looking for something in particular. As regards your brand, you should be deliberate. Listen, I want this brand to be
Mm-hmm.
here at this time, and I have to do this about it. Starting out my jewelry business, it was passion. I enjoyed picking out jewelry, but 1 year down the line, it wasn't enough. I wasn't the only
Mm-hmm.
person doing jewelry. I am not the only person still doing jewelry. So what sets you apart from these other people is carving out a niche. And if you're going to carve out a niche for your business, you have to be deliberate. So the lesson that I have learned and I am still learning is being intentional and deliberate. As one
Mm-hmm.
lesson that the entrepreneurship journey has taught me as ancestries, as an individual. Yeah.
That if you hear that, to all my tribe listening, be deliberate. And sometimes that takes you sitting down with a mentor, with an expert, somebody who's done it before, and getting the inside scoop, the 411 of how to make your brand or your business successful. Or if you don't have that, really setting out a business plan of how you're going to launch, how you're going to, even when you're talking about branding, one thing that I caught from your conversation, what you're saying too, is branding is very important. And sometimes defining what your brand is, your brand's voice, your personality, your market will help you be deliberate when you're game planning your strategy for how you want to go to market. So I like all that. So what's some advice you would give to someone who wants to start a career in your industry? Like, because as you said, the industry is, you're not the only person in the jewelry industry, and I'm pretty sure it's grown, it's expanded, and I'm probably sure it looks different now than it did, a decade ago, right?
Yeah.
So what is some good advice for somebody wanting to start a career in this industry now? What does that look like?
Okay. Uh, First things first, I'm big on solution providing. Are you
Ooh, I
providing a
like that.
solution with your business? That has always been a thing for me. In all of this, in my journey as an entrepreneur, as in the journey of the brand ancestries, I've had days when I'm like, I'm tired. I haven't, nobody's asking me, what are you selling? I've had times when I'm like, look, people are doing these things bigger and better than I am. What am I exactly still doing here now? But
Mm,
one thing is that on days like that, the things that keep me going is the fact that someone somewhere who has bought something from me before calls me and says,
mm,
hey, I need this thing, which means to me that I had at the time provided solution to the person's problem in the past.
mm.
And
Yeah.
so whoever you are, there's space. There's this saying, it was funny to me at the time I heard it, but it applies every time. Like the sky is what, there's room enough for all the birds in the sky.
Yeah.
Not one bird is
Yeah.
trying to outfly the other. If there's any word like outfly, everybody, there's room for everybody. And just make sure that you are providing a solution.
Yeah.
It's
And that's key.
yeah, it never goes out of style. People will keep coming back to that thing that met their need that you
Mm-hmm.
have. They have a need, you meet it, so they will keep coming back. If they find somebody else who has that same need, oh, go to this person. So
Mm-hmm.
basically, are you a solution provider or a side hustler? Just a
Yeah.
side
Yeah.
hustler.
Yeah. And that's so important because that's what keeps you in business for a long time when you're a solution provider. If you're either fixing a problem or providing a solution, one of these two things will keep you in business. And like you said, I love what you said about this. There's enough room in the sky for all the birds to fly, right?
Yes.
Which means you have to have a mindset of abundance. And that's so important to have that mindset of abundance because a lot of us as, hustlers, go get entrepreneurs. Sometimes when you switch to this mindset that there's not enough room for everybody, you start to make decisions based on scarcity, like the scarcity mindset. And that's not a good way or a healthy way, I should say, to run your business or just live life. So I love that abundance mindset that you kind of bring to the table with that quote. So what do you think, the future has in store for your industry, for the jewelry industry and entrepreneurs, not just in Nigeria, but across the world? What do you think the industry has in store?
I think the future is about to get more interesting because,
Do say.
of course, because every day there's something new. There's something new that can make you bigger, that can make you better. And many thanks and no thanks to COVID, every business is now global. Everybody can see your business and hear from your business
Uh-huh,
everywhere, regardless of where you are. So I feel
uh-huh,
like the world has now even become a level playing field, if you ask me, for everybody. You just need
uh-huh,
to find you first need to know where you want to be, and then
uh-huh,
make sure that you are exhausting all the opportunities and all the avenues to get to that place where you're going. I feel like it's about to get even better. The business world is growing, and so
uh-huh,
are the opportunities, so are the resources. So for it's the people who know how to maximize now that
uh-huh.
will definitely be making headways. Future looks interesting. I am optimistic about the future. Many thanks to people like Shola. They never get tired of of charting new courses. Like, okay. I think this people need this. And that's what we were saying about fixing a problem and finding solutions. All right. Someone like Shola will be like, okay, I haven't been able to do this, or I find out that this number of people are trying to do this. And that's one thing that I picked up from her. I think I picked up that whole solution provider fixing a problem from Shola because she's never just there about if something bothers her today, she'll find a way to make it work tomorrow.
I love that.
She'll definitely find a way to make it work. So for entrepreneurs everywhere, there's no limit to your business right now. Find the resources, push it, follow it, and make sure that you have everything covered. You definitely gonna get to where you want to go in one day.
Mhm.
It's a process. If you're steady, if you're consistent, if you're intentional, there's no limiting you.
That, and I definitely agree. I mean, this conversation right here proves that, COVID has really made the world a lot smaller because now, you know, people are intentionally working in a global capacity.
Mhm,
You came aboard the RiseUrbanNation project. You're all the way over in Nigeria, and
mhm.
we're working together. We're in business together, and I have a sense that a lot of people are doing that. I was having a conversation on the other radio show that I host, Let's Talk About It, and me and one of my co-hosts, Mike, the money guy, we had decided to jump into Clubhouse before we went on the air a couple weeks ago. And we were really talking about the state of Black America and entrepreneurship. And the interesting dialogue came up in that room where we talked about how Black women, African women there was some data showing that they are the new entrepreneurs. There's a high number of them, especially in the US. Is it the same over in Nigeria? And what do you think is driving more women to become entrepreneurs or have that entrepreneurial spirit that's outpacing men at a great rate? Like, what are your thoughts on that?
Okay, I think it's pretty much the same thing over here in Nigeria. And I don't know why, but it keeps dragging me back to providing solution and fixing a problem. Women are supposedly homemakers. They're the ones who nurture both children, build a home, and all of that. So, and the world as it is making the role of the woman even more, I don't know if I would say they're having like more things to do now than they used to have, because in the
Yeah.
past women will just be homemakers, especially in Africa. Women were just homemakers, like way back before technology and all of that. There were only very
Mhm.
few. But now the need to have multiple source of income, the need to make sure that the home is as comfortable as, the need to make sure that your children have the best life. Women are now saying, excuse me, sir, you can't be the only one bringing stuff to the table. If my children are going to be this comfortable, I have to bring things to the table as well. So I think that is what is driving. And in a bid to do this, to make the home, especially finance wise, to make it as comfortable
Mhm.
as possible, women have found out that I have to get somebody to help me with this. And when they go out
Mhm.
looking for that service and don't get it, the entrepreneurial spirit now rises up and is like, so you mean I'm looking for this and I don't have somebody to do it? It means like there are five other people out there looking for the same
Yeah.
service. Why don't I? I'll give you an example. There's somebody on Instagram. I found her out recently. She's called the Pepe Woman.
The Pepe woman.
Yes.
What is this Pepper woman you speak?
The Pepe Woman is somebody who goes to the market, buys tomatoes and pepper in bulk, all
Uh-huh.
right, blends them into paste and put them in bowls, ready to just pop into your pot.
What?
Yes. Now that woman is on one end. There's another woman called the Royalty Farm Fresh. What she does is she has a meat place. Whatever kind of protein you're looking for, she has fish, she has meat, all chopped up into, ready to just go into your pot. Cleaned out. All you need to do is just wash them up and pop it in your pot.
Oh, they are making life too easy for you.
There you go. So a working woman doesn't have to bother about, oh, I have to do market runs after I'm done from work. That is providing a solution. I'm sure those women at some point, were working and needed to make the home as well and found out that there's nobody doing this. Okay, here you go. And that's it. So
Yeah.
they provided a solution. I think that's what's driving the women over here.
Uh-huh.
That's what's driving them, because there's the need to balance building a career and, of course, running your home, or making sure that your children or your husband or the home front doesn't suffer so much for the career that you want to build.
Like, one thing that I noticed that you said is how, and this came up in our clubhouse too, how women are, not only finding solutions, but leaning to each other for solutions and asking questions and getting help. Now, that's one thing I say that I see to be uniquely different from men in business, where I feel that sometimes men, when we get stuck in business, the macho side of us, we will figure it out, like, and instead of ask for help. Do you think it's the same way over in Nigeria, in the culture of why women are probably maybe a little bit more successful and growing and creating business at a higher rate than the men? Or do you suspect there's other things that may be involved? And if so, what are those things?
Okay, so I just like you said, I think that women kind of lean to it. Of course, you already said that women would. Now, you see, I'll go back to the same illustration I gave. You see, the pepper woman is a different person. The Royalty Farm Fresh is a different person. But
Yeah.
during Christmas, when they knew that people would, they'll be cooking a lot because they'll have guests and family over, they came together
Uh-huh.
and they did great things together.
Uh-huh.
So that's what it is. And I think it's responsible for that for a lot. A man's way is everybody looks up to me. They expect that I should be able to figure this out as a man.
Uh-huh. Yeah.
But women understand the place.
Especially Nigerian men.
Yes. Well, it's not just Nigerian men, it's African men. I
Okay.
think it's an African thing. You know, the way the African culture is, it's like a male dominated society here in Africa.
Yeah.
That's how it has been. It's not something that just
Mhm.
even started, it has been like that. And besides that, a woman's place is also one of, when I go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 steps, I sit back and think how the 6 steps have affected the other things around me. I think that's why female businesses are thriving.
Mhm.
It's not just decision making and they're flying. No, there's a time, I think there are times when women sit back and, should I even just give up? In that place of giving up, she's looking and considering at how her business or her decisions so far has affected. And in that
Mhm.
place of, thinking through and checking and balancing, you'll be amazed at how much of growth comes out of it.
Yeah.
I think that's another thing that's helping female businesses. And then women like community a lot. They might not be the best
Yeah.
of friends, but you see that communal thing, especially
Yeah.
here in Africa.
Yeah.
It's like a sisterhood. So, and it helps a lot. It really helps. If you
Yeah.
go on Instagram, you'll find a lot of them, especially on this in Africa. I do makeup, you do this. Okay, let's do a collaboration. I do this, you
Mhm.
do that. Okay, let's meet. There's something they do. There's a female network event they do. She leads Africa.
Mm.
You have women coming together like that. So we don't necessarily have to be friends, but are we speaking about moving in the same direction? Yes. So to an extent, we'll
Yeah.
hold hands and get to a point. If it's not working at that point, everybody goes their separate way. But we have moved from point A to point B. At point B, we eventually will find different partners or helpers, and then we keep moving. I guess that's what it is that's helping the women, if you ask me.
Yeah, yeah, and I love that, and that's something that, as I've had some great women around me that I've always sat and thought about, which made me want to just create this platform, RisePreneurs, so that we can create a tribe, a community between, Blacks and Africans in the diaspora. From my upbringing, I see that there needs to be more spaces like this
Mhm.
that allowed us to build community globally, internationally, so that we can rise through all the different challenges that we see both here in the States, over in Africa, or any other Blacks out there from the UK and so forth. We all seem to have a common bond of a certain type of struggle when it comes to our status in the world and moving up that ladder to achieve success, whatever success looks like for you. And I do believe that us coming together, showing that one, it can be done, and then two, growing it is going to take us to that next level. So I love those examples that really give a vivid explanation of what community can look like and how it can help you grow, or at least get to the next step. We don't always have to agree, but it could get us to that next step, which will allow us to then elevate and rise each other up in our different spaces and as a collective and as a whole, right?
Yeah.
So love that, love that. So you're a woman of many different talent, skills, and things going on between ancestries, risepreneurs, helping Shola. What are some projects you're currently working on, and what can people look for next with you? Or, well, let me start with this question first before we pause that question for a second. What are your hopes and dreams for the future when you look at everything that you're creating and this life that you're creating and the business you're creating, whether it be ancestries? What are your hopes and dreams for the future? Like, what do you want to see and do?
Well, for starters, I am a part of the Risepreneurs team, and I'm looking forward to what that community will grow into. I am fired up, and I know, the thing about a community is that it goes beyond one person. It goes beyond the startup team. And I'm looking forward to what that community will now become across the world. You know, you're hearing somebody in South Africa, you're hearing somebody in Asia, you're hearing somebody in the US, you're hearing somebody in the UK saying one thing: oh, I'm a Black entrepreneur, and Risepreneurs moved me to this point. It's one project that is dear to my heart because I'm looking forward. I know what the power of community is firsthand, and I'm looking forward to what this one will do. All right. And secondly, I'm grateful for this whole gets called Shola again because with Shola, you cannot think small. You definitely can't think small. So I'm looking forward to all of the knowledge that I've gained over time, especially because of this pandemic. You know, the ways that I can do certain things now, the whole global pathway that has been opened. I'm looking
Yeah.
forward to what all the skills that I have acquired over the time, you know, can do for me and help me with. And I'm also an educator. One of the things that I do,
Yeah.
I am a school teacher. And
I love that too. I love that too.
I'm a school teacher. I have a soft spot for children who have special needs. So of
Yes.
course in the future, especially with children who are hearing impaired, of course in the future, I hope you'll definitely be hearing Annifred Granville in that set. You'll definitely be hearing Annifred Granville in that set sooner than you
Blair.
think. Working with children who are hearing impaired, making life a whole lot easier for them, especially here in Africa. Especially
Blair.
here in Africa. So that's one thing to
And
look forward to. And of course, ancestries growing by the day. You never know
uh-huh.
what's in the works with that as well.
Blair, I love that. I love that. My sister's also in the education space. And one thing I can say, COVID has definitely brought new innovative ways to do education, and it has its challenges too in education and staying connected. I mean, how would you have, before I go into the last question, how have you been able to kind of stay connected and evolve and adapt to teaching the youth and making sure that they feel like they're connected during this period of time?
You know, the thing is, it's not exactly very easy for the kids. Children who are used to feeling hugging you in the morning when they walk into the school compound and all of
Mm,
that. And now all they can do is just sit by themselves in their sitting room and watch you over their screens. And so, one thing I have held there in my whole practice as an educator, as a teacher, a classroom teacher, is an outpouring of love towards your pupils.
mm-hmm,
Now, I think that if these young ones, if they feel that beyond you just teaching them and doing your time and earning a salary, if they feel some form of connection to
mm-hmm,
them personally, it will even do more for you than your methods
mm,
because children feel the need to please people that they love
mm,
and people that they feel genuinely care about them. And there's no better time to express that love than now because they're not there. So you're not faking it for them to feel it or see it. It's now time for them. And children are just magical beings because they feel these things beyond an adult. You fake it with an adult and get away with it. But with
mm,
kids, the barest tones are important for them. The slightest of tones are mean a lot to a child. The do nots, the don'ts, the can you, the come here means a lot, goes a long way. And so now I think what teachers have been able to do is genuinely express their love and care for these children, even so
mm,
that the screen cannot withhold that. And so if you really do not love this children genuinely, you won't pick up these new skills. You won't A lot of people, I can tell you that since this pandemic struck, And now some people have resigned their jobs as teachers because it's not for the faint-hearted. Pardon me. You have to. It's so the people who now genuinely love the children will say, okay, why don't I pick up the skill? This child in my class is struggling. So after the Zoom class, you are calling the parent, oh, how did this child fare? What can I do to help? So that's what's actually standing the test of time. It's the genuine love and care for growth in these people.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Because I consider myself an educator. I'm not a licensed classroom teacher, but I do teach in the classroom from time to time to go teach mostly high school and college kids on how to find a career that they love or build a career that they love, using different things that helped me get to where I'm at today. And so I had to find new ways through this Zoom and technology to engage with them, to get this message out to them. When teachers call me, it's like, hey, we're doing Zoom now. And I know you used to do this excellent presentation in the classroom and these hands-on activities, but is there a way you can kind of put that into a Zoom so that they can still get that same feeling and message? And although it's been a challenge, it's been a reward too, because now I'm able to reach more people, right? And it's encouraged me to start this podcast and so forth. So I love everything that you're doing. Annifred, or as I would like to say, I'm going to just say Ann, because, I'm going to keep it short. Because you're my sister.
That works. Yeah, that works.
This has been an absolute pleasure. Now, what projects are you currently working on, and where can people find you?
Okay, I'm working on RiseUrbanNation. Please feel free to follow RiseUrbanNation on Instagram. That's our community.
I didn't pay her to say that. I promise.
I'm a part of the team. Everybody. So of course, I'm a part of the team. So all of the work you're seeing on RiseUrbanNation, we are doing it together. So please feel free to follow RiseUrbanNation. Feel free to also follow Ancestries. Of course, I didn't mention that one of the unique things that I do with Ancestries is the fact that I curate jewelry gift boxes, and I can ship them anywhere in the world, especially if you are outside of Africa or Nigeria and you like a sort of Nigerian feel to your gifting. I'm sure I'm your go-to girl, especially if you're about to gift. Well, I could curate gift boxes for men, women, children as well. So find me on Instagram at Ancestries_INT. That's ANNECESSORIES_INC at Ancestries_INC. Up there.
I love it. And I'm going to have to put all those links into the show notes, and so people can get their gift boxes. And of course, Risepreneurs, and gets on me on this every week. You got to get the website up. Website is coming soon. Hopefully it'll be up by the time you hear this episode. Yeah. And thank you so much for everything that you do, not only for here, Risepreneurs and the team, but for what you do at home with the kids, with the youth. It's truly inspiring, everything that you do. And I'm so appreciative that we have somebody like you in the world to really pour in love into the youth and help that next generation rise to their next occasion. So this has been another episode of Risepreneurs, ladies and gentlemen, and hope you enjoy the episode.
Thank you.
Thank you for listening to another episode of the Risepreneurs podcast.
Thank you for taking the journey.
Be sure to like, comment, and smash that subscribe button. And stay connected with Terrell on and off the show. Follow at Risepreneurs on all platforms.
Do what you love what you do. Don't chase the money. Let the money chase you.